those strategic recommendations that we need, and they have the full commitment of their senior teams behind them. Ofsted recognised that we now have the players in place to make the changes that we all know our children and families deserve. Sadly, not everyone in this chamber has recognised this in recent weeks, and one party has even attempted to unseat the Chief Executive. Mr Mayor, this Council needs to be aware that the continued massive cuts are destroying public and voluntary services. The total lack of meaningful mental health services, with only today the report that 23% of young children are turned away at their first call on mental health issues. The cuts to CCG funding and benefit cuts across the board to those in need will only make our job far more complex. And that is why every councillor in this chamber has to commit to work together for our families and our children, Mr Mayor. Finally, Mr Mayor, it is important.
Specifically, it mentions the failing of the controlling group to implement the recommendations from the 2012 report. Following on from that, the latest harrowing Ofsted report from 2016 clearly demonstrates the failure of the controlling group to address the alarming systemic failures that the previous report had already identified. In fact, the report vindicates everything I and my group have been saying. I wrote to Ofsted last year due to my increasing concerns about senior management and the controlling group's inability to get a grip of children's services, which is now being branded as inadequate. My letter highlighted my group's concerns about children's services, including the merging of Children's Services Committee into People Services. The reports of 13 improvements identified by Ofsted in 2011 had not been addressed. The number of looked after children and no plan to address this. An atmosphere of behind closed doors and no transparency. Concerns about similarities to Rotherham Council, including a high turnover of staff and the use of expensive interims. We also have an inexperienced chief executive, and the council is not in a position to deal with its problems. And everything in the 2016 Ofsted report confirms this. I feel my group did the right thing by highlighting these concerns to Ofsted in August 2015. However, it raises questions of what the Labour group have been doing since 2012. Why is Dudley's Safeguarding Children Board not cross-party? Again, the opposition have been unable to be there and scrutinise. In addition, Democratic Services have confirmed UKIP have never been invited to the Corporate Parenting Board, and the annual stakeholder event never took place after May 2014. Again, this shows the danger of the chair controlling who can attend. We saw this with the new Improvement Board, which we welcome Tony's work on this. However, we had to fight to be included in this, and we even had to be interviewed. And I applaud Councillor Anderton's work on this. We can only address these systemic failures in children's services if it's opened up to more scrutiny. Therefore, will the controlling group create a specific children's services committee to address the failings in the current report? Secondly, will there be a full and frank apology from all the Cabinet members that have led this since 2012?